Good morning. I was asked a very interesting question by one of my students recently. The question was, what is God to you? When you talk about God, what have you got in your mind? What are you thinking? What are you linking to? And so it was one of those questions that I never did really explain what my understanding of God was. So here's my best attempt at explaining the unexplainable. I believe that God is a person and a non-person. I think God in action is people who do, say, charitable work. God in prayer are people who sing, not so much for making lots of money, but sing because they just love singing. There's a God of jealousy and a God of hate and all of those things. And what I learned was, you treat God like you would a parent. You know, if you made your parent angry, you're able to do stuff in order to take that anger away, you know, calm them down, make them love you again, if you want to say such a thing. And it's the same thing with God, you know. If you did something that you feel would have made God, your higher self source, angry, well then do something to make up for that, you know. And I'm not talking about like something like going to confession and saying, you know, bless me Father for I have sinned and I did this and this, and then go out and do it all over again, because I don't think that was a successful confession. I think that was just some way of alleviating yourself for a small period of time. So for me, as I say, God is our self. It's our own actions, our own understanding to life and how we want to live that life. And, you know, do we want that life to be hard? Do we want it to be soft? Do we want it to be in the middle? You know, life is full of lessons. So God is omnipresent, because as long as you're breathing, God is present as far as I'm concerned. And when you stop breathing, God becomes even more present, because God is energy, God is consciousness, God is consciousness stream. So for me, God in action, as I say, is somebody who goes out and helps their neighbour, who takes it upon themselves to pick up litter off the street without being asked, without being admired, without being told to do it. They do it because it feels right to do it. And to me, that's God in action. The name that you call God, to me, that's not important. It's actually not important. As I say, you know, taking all the teachings from the various traditions around the world, religions around the world, you know, you have so many images and understandings and aspects of God. But I believe if you just break that aspect, like if you take Jesus, right, what was his message? Well, his message was love thy neighbour as yourself. So there you go. You know, his message was that he was the way. But what did he mean by he was the way? Well, I think he meant, if you look at his actions and what he did and the struggles he had with some of the things he did, you know, that you have a much better understanding of the Christ being. And so I would say that God is within us. I think it is our higher understanding, our higher self. I think that if you break down the mind from a technical point of view, i.e. into the categories of conscious and subconscious, well, sub means below and conscious is above. So all our desires, everything, our actions come from our conscious awareness. But the situation is we have been programmed into a state of subconscious habits and beings that, you know, run everything from our heart rate to our autonomic systems to whatever. And, you know, those are not always, that's obviously a good habit, but then we have some bad habits, programs that we've learned through trauma in our childhood or love in our childhood, And those two are constantly playing on our consciousness. And the more conscious we become of these programs, the more we understand that we probably need to get rid of a lot of programs that we've had in our system. You know, if it doesn't serve you anymore, it's time to reprogram it. And there's no way you're going to reprogram it unless you actually know what it is and how it got there. And that takes a little bit of work. That's why we go to things like spiritual workshops or whatever, because, you know, we can't always find this stuff for ourselves. Sometimes it takes a teacher or something to help us to find those programs. But at the end of the day, it's us that have to press the delete button on them. But it's not just a matter of saying, oh, I'm going to delete this bad habit. It won't work like that. You're going to have to go deeper than that, because these are they're underneath your conscious. They're hiding, if you like. But they also believe that they're doing you a favor because it's just a habit. So when you find you have bad desires, you know they're bad and you want to stop doing it, but for some reason you can't do it. It's like an addiction. Well, another word for addiction is sub-habit. The sub-habits of who you are. And unless you spend the time, as I say, finding those sub-habits, you're just going to always find yourself going around in circles. So what is God? God is your ability to love yourself. God is your ability to rise higher and higher in your consciousness stream. Your ability to understand that service to man is service to God, because God is in man. You know, yes, there is people who do evil actions. Absolutely, there are people who do evil actions. But it's not your place to judge them. It's your place to judge you. You know, there's that great saying of, there you were judging your brother or your sister for having a splinter in their eye, whilst you had a plank in your own. You know, and I watch that happen daily with people. So if you want to save your energy, if you want to meet God, you have to quieten down. You have to quieten down in a way that is specific. You have to take an issue that you're dealing with, an addiction, a habit, something that you just know, as I say, just no longer serves you, and just hold on that one thing and go as deep as you can. Like, what is the root cause of that? What can you remember? What can you recall? Not everybody can recall everything from their childhood. Actually, some people can't recall anything from their childhood. But what you have got the ability to do is you've got the ability to feel what it feels like in your body. And a feeling removed is as good as a thought removed. So, to me, God is the ability to change. God is the ability to transform. God is the word that we use for the collective consciousness, the overriding, most powerful. And many beings have walked the planet who have acquired God consciousness. You know, the Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Krishna, they've all acquired it. And you and I, we're capable of acquiring it as well. And I don't mean from an egotistical point of view, or to end up in some forest, you know, in sackcloth with dust on your head. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being fully present for your life. Not running away from things, not trying to beat things down by overeating, over drinking, you know, overactivity. Not that at all. It's actually slowing down, taking some deep breaths, and just allowing yourself to be. Just be. Take a specific something and say, I am going in to find heaven. I am going in to find God. And then, as you exhale, close your eyes, and God is present. enjoy your day, enjoy your week, enjoy your month, enjoy your year, enjoy your life. Be well and be happy.